Alex Lowe's, welcome to the My Love of Golf podcast, mate. Thanks for joining us down here at Peninsula Kingswood today. How are you?
Good. Well, a little bit jet lagged. Me and Rocky only flew in last night, so we were a little bit jet lagged, but awesome place here, and I've been lucky enough to get around in today with you.
Well, mate, thanks to your good friends at Callaway for sending you down to join us down here. I was absolutely privileged to get the call up to host you down here, and for me it's been great chatting about something that I've had a little bit of exposure to in your world, and that's the world of professional motorcycle racing. As some of my listeners know, I had a bit of a career in motorcycles myself at a head office level, and just from the outside had a little bit of a fun time over the years down at the Superbikes, and that's what you're here for. So the World Superbike Championship, when does it kick off? Yeah,
so I'm here for obviously 2020 World Superbike season starts in Australia next weekend, Phillip Island. So I've changed teams been at Yamaha for a few years, but I'm joining the Kawasaki team, so I've got a lot of excitement building before the season. And I'm looking forward to it. Obviously we're here for a bit of golf. We're here a little bit early so we can get a little bit of golf in, which, to be honest, I always try and do. All around the world where we're riding, we always try and get there a bit early and play a game of golf, because it's so different to obviously motorcycle racing, but it's something I really enjoy, and we try to get out as much as we can.
It sounds like a pretty good life, travelling the world, racing motorcycles and fitting a bit of golf in along the way.
Yeah, it's living the dream, as they say. I'm definitely doing that, living my dream anyway. But yeah, golf is a funny one. I didn't start playing until I was a little bit older, and I was working with a sports psychologist guy who recommended me to try it. And I was always not anti-golf, but none of my friends played it. Obviously, most of my friends were a bit more action-packed into either sort of two-wheeled motorsport or other stuff like that. So when I first started playing, I wasn't so sure, and then as soon as you get the bug for golf, you hit that one shot. When you start hitting them shots that are, still very rarely, but when you do hit that sweet shot, it gets you hooked. So I was, little bit of an addictive personality, and just wanted to get better and better. So it's quite funny because Rocky is, obviously he's from a completely different profession again with his boxing, but he was the same as me. I was trying to get him to come down the driving range or come play golf. And he might not admit it now, but he wasn't having it. He didn't want to come and play, but he's fully got the bug now. And I say he's probably worse than me. He wants to play more than me.
So Rocky's sitting here to my left. Rocky, or Dave, is part of Alex's team that travels around the world with him. Mate,
how you doing?
Thanks for joining us.
Welcome.
So, as Alex has just said, you come from the professional boxing world, and they've now turned your hand to a little bit of golf.
Yeah, well, I'd like to try and play golf.
Yeah. Every time you ask him, he said, I've only been playing 6 months, but he's definitely been playing 3 years, so I don't know what...
It's more 8 months now. Go with that.
Yeah, I've played with a few guys that have only been playing 8 months or 6 months, but you always got to watch out for those guys.
Yeah, he's a bandit.
Well, mate, you weren't a bandit today. No, you were a bandit. You were a bandit. Yeah, you had a bad start, but, mate, you came good.
Yeah, I think just took a little while warming up, and then towards the end of the game, I started playing some nice shots.
You did. And I was very, very impressed with your putting. The greens here at Peninsula Kingswood, and you guys, I didn't actually tell you, but the greens here, I think you sort of agree that they're fairly special.
Really, really nice, pure greens.
The grass, if you're into your grass, that they have here is a strain of grass that actually comes from Augusta. So... And I've been reliably informed by a young chap by the name of Lucas Michel, who's a friend of the podcast. He's playing at Augusta this year as an Australian amateur, won the USA Mid-Am Championship, which qualifies him to play at Augusta this year. He's actually said, in preparation for Augusta, that he needs to play here more often to putt on those greens. When they're at their best, they're as good as what he experienced when he went to Augusta just recently for some practice. So you've been putting pretty well on some Augusta-like greens.
Yeah, I think that was probably my strongest part of the game today. I'm happy with that.
Is that the best greens? Just bring out the best in your Rocky. I don't know what else to say.
I guess it's like anywhere. Once you get warmed up, we were talking earlier on. The best courses start to bring out the best in you, and mate, you can certainly hit the ball pretty well.
Oh, nice one.
So, mate, we'll talk about your professional world there for a moment. You're ex-champion boxer,
Commonwealth champion, yeah.
Commonwealth champion boxer. Transitioned into the world of, how do we describe you? Personal management, professional management?
No, it's I'm like Alex's right-hand man, basically.
There we go, right.
Look after him, make sure he's got everything on point at the races, just to keep him like a clear mind, so he can focus on his racing. So
beautiful. So on a race weekend, typical race weekend, what does that look like from your world, looking after this young man over here, so he can get out there and go, what are we going to get around at Phillip Island in? Top speeds of, you crack 300 down there, down the main straight?
Yeah, so you guys are in kilometres.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing close to 320, 325.
Jeepers.
The cool thing about Phillip Island as well, when you're doing that speed down the start and finish straight, you can't see turn one, it's completely blind, and when you look straight in front, it just looks like you're going to go
into the ocean.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool, and that's one of the iconic things about Phillip Island. But yeah, full, really high speeds, and on a race weekend, Rocky's in charge of everything from organising my kit and tear-offs on my helmet and stuff like that, and he makes sure that I know where I need to be for sponsors, and like he said, just making sure my mind's focused on the job. Any top sport, whether it's golf or boxing or me now with motorcycle racing, as long as you can just focus on exactly what you need to focus on, having the right people around you does make a big difference.
So you mentioned before that it was you're a sports psychologist that suggested that you get into the game. So what was the reason behind that? What did they sort of suggest, or why did they suggest golf?
I was a little bit of an angry kid, really,
right, okay.
when I was younger. So if you're an angry kid at golf, obviously it's a frustrating game, because we think we've not cracked it, but you go down the driving range and you're working on something, and you get on the course and you hit a couple of good shots, you think, you expect it every time, and as soon as you start expecting it, can become very frustrating when it doesn't happen. So I think he was sort of trying to get across that if you can stay calm for 4 hours around the golf course, then it's going to be good preparation for staying calm and away from that. But I just ended up falling in love with it and trying to be the best I can at playing golf.
So is there anything from a mental performance perspective that you apply in your world of racing that translates into golf? Is there any sort of common ground there?
Yeah, I think that what's good about golf is what I believe in it. Obviously, I only play to my level, but I think if you can really perfect the ability to play each shot separately for what it is, and be able to go through your routine of each shot and not let the last hole, the last shot bother you as much. I think that if you had the ability to do that, especially the pro guys that can play all the shots, I think you would obviously get better results. And I think that's the same in any sport. When it's going well and the putts are going in, or for me when I'm if you're winning races, or you're fastest in the practice sessions and you're getting your bike set up for the weekend and it's going really well, or you're birdieing all the holes, or not all the holes, but you're on a birdie run, it's easy to be focused, it's easy to think about your next shot. But when it's not quite going right, it's easy to think about what's not going right, and the more you think about what's going wrong, the more it goes wrong. So it's the same mindset, I believe, in any sport, and I think golf's a very good thing to practice, because at my level anyway, it goes wrong more than it goes right. So if you can focus on the positives, what you need to do, what you need to do to hit the shot, and if you can go back to that every time, I think it allows you to get around the course in a decent score. I think that's something that I've always done as well. Even when I started playing golf, I wasn't that good, but I always got around the course probably a little bit better than somebody else at my handicap, or where I should do, because I managed the situation quite well. That's what I've always noticed.
Rocky, what about you from a boxing world perspective? Like us, I don't know boxing at all, mate, but I like watching it. I like the athleticism that goes behind boxing, but I see it as an ultimate game of sort of one-on-one strategy with someone else, the opponent. Does that strategy sort of translate to helping you get around the golf course? Every shot's a different sort of...
I'm not sure it helps on the golf course. I think it's completely different mindset. Whereas the golf course, you need to be a lot more calm. I suppose it can be the same, because you need to be calm and relaxed in the boxing ring as well. But
if you're getting punched on the nose for half an hour on boxing, I've learned from speaking to Rocky about it a lot more, and obviously being around him, and we met through physical training away from the boxing gym, but we became friends, so we spent a lot of time together when he was fighting. And if you can stay calm when someone's punching you in the face, you've got a good temperament, I think, because everyone thinks, fighting, you need to be aggressive and be pumped up, but it's actually the opposite. It's an art to not get hit, to keep calm, to have a game plan in boxing. And I think just being calm in any sport, so having that mentality, come across to any sport. So I never really see him get annoyed on the golf, as annoyed as other people on the golf course. Obviously, when you go through the learning phase of golf, nearly everyone gets frustrated. But he's been for me anyway. He doesn't really get annoyed, and I think that does definitely help him.
That's a good analogy because. Yeah, you probably got one on the chin on the first hole today, and then
came on the first hole. So I kept my cool and managed to pull it together.
Because I was thinking it was going to be a long round from that first hole, but you did all right after that.
No, very good. Oh, well, look, guys, it's no mean feat out here at the South Course. It's a tough course, and it was a bit breezy today, and to get around like we did, we kept ourselves pretty neat. I think you caught one on the chin there on the 17th hole in that bunker there. That the fried egg of all fried eggs of fried eggs.
Yeah, see that's one thing about golf that I like, because it wasn't that bad shot. They just pulled it slightly, and you're in the bunker. Okay, you take the penalty, but obviously it was plugged in the bunker. So then it's and I couldn't get to the ball, and you end up with a 5, just trying to from something that wasn't that big of a mistake.
Yeah.
And I like that about golf, because it's easy. Most people say, "Oh, always unlucky, always have a bad bounce, always," but you can't think like that. So I think, Does that
happen on the track? You might make a little bit of a mistake, and then all of a sudden 2 people are up the inside of you. You've lost 2 places, and then you've got to make that back.
Yeah, it can happen on the track, and obviously normally it was still a mistake from me to pull the ball, or normally if you run a bit wide on the track and 2 guys pass you, essentially it's still a mistake that you've made, but it's trying to react and limit the damage the best you can from that mistake. But I thought this course was great. I've been so fortunate to play lots of courses around the world, and I love golf in Australia, and this was right up there with one of the best we've played.
Okay, so let's talk about some of that golf around the world. You mentioned a few of the courses there today, and I was pretty impressed and pretty blown away by some of them because they're on my bucket list. So what's been your favourite golf experience from all of your travels around the world, going from country to country, racing superbikes at the highest level?
My favourite golfing experience, it's hard to say. We have one race in a track called Laguna Seca, which is in Monterey, California, and obviously there's not many places in the world that are any better than where the track is near Pebble Beach. There's Pebble Beach, Spyglass, Monterey Peninsula, Spanish Bay, Spanish Bay. So it's like a perfect place for a little golf holiday. And over the last few years, a few of my friends have come over, and we've extended the work, shall we say, and had a few rounds of golf. And last year I was lucky. Jason Pridmore, an ex-motorcycle racer, used to race in the World Endurance Championships, AMA, American guy who's like me, just a racer that's a massive fan of golf. He's a really, really good golfer, and we became friends. So obviously through golf, we were sharing the passion. And last year he sort of surprised me. We through friends of his, we played Cypress Point, which was, you've dreamed to get on and play there. And I think it's the 16th hole is a par 3. It's like a real long par 3. I think it was 225 yard carry to the front edge. It was guarded by a bunker over the water.
Pretty famous hole in golf.
Very famous hole in golf. Yeah. And for me that experience with them guys was, I don't get much better than that. Yeah. I didn't make it over, so there's no good ending to the story. I was definitely put it in the sea, I think. But I would say that was a really good experience. But also my favourite course, in terms, because I had a good game there, is Spyglass, which is like sort of in between Cyprus and Pebble Beach. But for golf, we've had some good times there. And Rocky, when he just started playing, I think he'd been playing 6 months. And
I think the first 6 months of my golf career, we played Pebble Beach
with a caddy.
I had a caddy as well, and I think I shot all right around there.
I'm not sure about that.
I
know you definitely played.
Yeah, I can remember going up to the 18th green, and I was in the bunker, and there was quite a few people at the clubhouse watching. And I was walking up and I was just saying in my head, "Please get it out in one, please get it out in one." And it was quite a long shot away, but I got it out in one, and I putted it one putt as well. So I was quite happy with the way I finished there.
Just responding to the pressure like a pro, mate.
He did love that. Yeah. And actually, my wife was there watching us on the last hole. and she got a great picture of me. My brother was there, and Rocky, and you got it up in your house, haven't you? Real nice.
Big canvas. Yeah,
the famous last hole at
Pebble
Beach. Yeah, and he did well. Got a birdie. So
that's what an experience.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
But has your lovely wife Corinne,
Corinne,
has she seen you play all of these courses and had to wait for you? Like she's unfortunately had to wait for us today to finish and then watch us here.
She I don't know. She watches me play golf as much as she watches me ride, I think. And definitely when we're at home and I take over the telly, because I watch golf. I watch all the PGA stuff for the European Tour. I know what's going on and watching all of it. Really, I'm a bit of a golf geek, I suppose. Maybe you'd say, but I don't think she likes watching the golf, but I do. So simple as that.
Who are your favourite golfers? Who do you like to watch?
I love to watch Rory McIlroy, honestly. The way he hits his driver. So far, I don't really miss that much with it, and I think he's just very naturally talented at golf. He seems to always has these points of the rounds where he goes missing for a hole or two, but if he can straighten that out, I think he's, for me anyway, he's probably best in the world. He's currently number one now, but I know that moving.
Yep.
It's always hard to understand the move in the golf rankings, but all them guys, all the guys are good. I enjoy watching all of them, but I'd say I do like Rory to do well, and he plays with a 22 on his ball, so that's my racing number as well.
22. There you go.
He must be an Alex Lowe's fan, I think, secretly.
There you go. Well, 22 is half one of my favourite numbers. If I'm into a little bit of numerology, 44 is one of my numbers.
Oh yeah.
So that's half one of mine.
Yeah, so, it's a 22.
I can align with that. That's good.
We like to get both 2 birdies on the par 3s, so then we get 22, don't we?
There you go. 22 on the card's nice.
Yeah, no, I like it. What about you, Rocky? Who's your favourite golfer, mate?
I've not really got a favourite golfer. I'm like Alex. I do enjoy watching it, and
you like Fleetwood, though, don't you? English.
Fleetwood. Yeah, a lot of the English players I like, but I just enjoy watching it and just to make it look so easy. We know how hard it is.
Yeah, we proved that today. Absolutely.
Yeah, we made it look hard today, but yeah.
So you must have come across some pretty cool cats out there in the sharing that sporting world and playing at the high playing golf with some of the guys that play at a high level, and they wanted to get something from you what you do in a high level. So who have you played with? Who have you had the?
Yeah, I've been lucky because not far from where my wife's from is where Danny Willett's from in Sheffield. Also Matt Fitzpatrick, an English guy, he's from there as well. So there's the manager of Danny Willett, a guy called Alan Muff. He's a little bit into his bikes. His brother's well into his bikes. So I've been lucky that they sort of got me hooked up with the guys at Callaway in Europe. So they've been looking after me with all the kits. So I certainly look like a professional golfer. So I'm very fortunate in that way. Don't think it quite helps me play like that. But yeah, so I've played a lot with them, and hopefully not next week, but the week after we're going to Qatar. We've got a race. We have a race in Qatar under the lights over there, which is a pretty cool race for us. But the week before there's the Qatar Masters, so looks like I'm going to get to play in the Pro-Am before. Obviously I don't know who I'm playing with, but get to play in the Pro-Am before the golf tournament. So obviously that'd be pretty cool. It's like Rocky said, they just make it look so easy, but I'm determined this year actually to knuckle down and put a bit more practice in myself and try and get the handicap down a bit more.
So what are the areas that you want to knuckle down on? What are you looking to improve in your golf?
We spoke a bit about today on the course, didn't we? It's the stuff you don't practice in it, the short game. That's you can say if you can get up and down more often than not from 100 yards, it's not an easy game, but it's an easier game. This year I'm going to focus on that. I did, I need to focus on a bit of chipping and putting, and that's what I think anyway.
So
then again, I can't really keep it in play off the tee either, so I could do with a couple of days working on that.
It must be hard. I reckon it'd be hard because I know I change clubs a little bit because I like to try them all, and I know what it's like. Today I was using a different driver. You're using a set of higher clubs, but they're a set of Callaways, so it's good for Callaway to organise that we had the Callaways for you here. It must be hard not playing with your own clubs all the time. So
yeah, it's been worse since Callaway started. Since I started helping with Callaway clubs, because I went down and went on the simulator, got all fitted up for the clubs, So then I got used to playing with them. So now, because they're perfectly made for me, when I go away from that, I think I find it a bit more difficult. But you always like to blame the clubs, don't you? But I don't think we kind of come again.
No, it's not. I don't think it makes a difference whatsoever with my game. Higher clubs or my clubs.
No. What I will say, do you know what one of the worst things for me when I'm changing clubs a lot is that just visually looking at, for example, the putter. If you visually don't like it, you do put worse. Yeah. So obviously there's an element of you need to be confident to roll the putts in, but it's amazing how the difference that you feel. Like if you're used to using a bladed putter and you use a bigger one, it's quite a big difference, I think.
Can be, absolutely right, 100%. Now, just on the Callaway thing, so I'm going to recommend to you that when you go home and you get a time and you get to speak to the Callaway guys back there in the UK, go and try the new Maverick Pro.
Yeah, okay.
That will be, I think, after watching you for 18 holes and play and looking at your skill level, which is above average, I think that iron would suit your game perfectly.
I will speak with him and I'll let you know. Let you know how many birdies I'm knocking.
New Maverick driver and the Maverick Pro. You leave it with that. You can probably get some more Travis Matthew kit down there.
Yeah,
We've got some nice Travis Matthew kit.
Yeah, I love the Travis Matthew kit. So even had a nice little Christmas jumper this year. So the wife was happy. I looked nice on Christmas Day. Made a bit of an effort, but I think their stuff's great.
Yeah. It's a good lifestyle brand. It's
really good. Yeah,
certainly doing well in here. Before we close off, let's just give everyone a bit of an insight into what it's taken from you professionally to get to the level that you are. So, you started riding bikes when? What age were you when you?
So I started riding. I started riding off-road, sort of motocross bikes and dirt bikes when I was 7 years old, and I started competitions at 7. And then when I was 13, moved on to tarmac racing, onto circuit racing. So I've got a twin brother that races as well. So you can imagine we had not just the passion from an early age, because it's easy, to have a hobby. Or we had the competition, which I think helped me a lot. Yeah. So from first, we always had a competition with each other. The first to ride a bike without stabilisers, or there's always little challenges along the way that I think made us competitive, which always helps in sport. But then 13 I moved to tarmac, and then obviously went through like the amateur ranks, and then from 2010 I've been riding at a professional level in England to start with, and then in 2013 I managed to win the British Superbike Championship, which was we have quite a strong national series, so it was something that I grew up watching, was the British Championship, and obviously I was fortunate enough to win that and then move up to World Superbike. Obviously the dream is to be World Superbike Champion. I'm not there yet, so I still feel like I'm up every day working hard to improve myself and understand which areas I can improve. And it's I've been lucky, but it's been a lot of sacrifice to it. It don't feel like sacrifice because, like we said, I'm living my dream. If I could have 10 years ago described to you what I wanted to be doing in the next 10 years, what I'm doing now is what I would have wanted to do. So I'm lucky in that respect. But it's we were just speaking before about what television we like to watch, and I said I like to watch any live sport or any sport because understanding what people do at any sport to get to a high level gives me a lot of respect for them, because I know what I've put in to get to where I am. So whatever it is, even if you don't understand the sport, you can have a mutual respect for the sacrifices and the effort they've obviously had to take to get to that level. So it's ongoing, let's say. I still want to improve a lot more, and I've still got big ambitions for the next few years to try and be world champion.
So
to shoot under par at golf.
And to shoot under par. There's two fantastic ambitions. So this year, new team?
New team this year. I'm riding for the Kawasaki World Superbike team.
Yep. Big factory name in World Superbikes, mate.
Yeah, in my world, it's they've won the championship the last 5 seasons with Jonathan Ray, and I'm joining that team as his teammate. So if you could choose any team to ride for, it'd be that one, and if you could choose any teammate to have, it'd be him. He's arguably the best ever superbike rider. So I've certainly got the tools, and I've got a teammate to gauge myself against, and I've got good motivation, and really looking forward to starting. And what better place than Australia?
Is there good camaraderie in the pits amongst all of the lads?
Yeah, do you know what there is? There's the good respect, because obviously in our game you need to have the respect when you're racing at 300 kilometres an hour with each other, you need to know that when it really comes to it, you're going to give each other enough room. Obviously everyone wants to be aggressive and try and beat each other, so I'd say there's a lot of respect, but camaraderie and sort of getting on, not really. You just want to beat them, don't you, really?
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Just want to get
similar
out
like when you play golf. Even when I play golf with my brother or Rocky, it's all fun, but as soon as you put £5 on or $5 on the line, it gets serious. You don't want to laugh and joke, but you want to beat them, don't you?
I think it was pretty clear pretty early to me that you wanted to beat Rocky
Yeah.
here, and you weren't giving him too much.
I'm just worried because he's improving quite fast, so when it actually really becomes a problem for me, I don't think we're going to speak for 18 holes, but we'll be playing mind games from the drive to the course, but no.
So at Phillip Island, you mentioned before, it's one of your favourite tracks? It's one of the tracks that you like to race?
It's one of all the riders' favourite tracks.
Yeah.
It's such a really fast track with lots of character. It's right near the sea, and it's a great track to ride.
Well, when my career was in the motorcycle industry, I used to spend. It was more. I wouldn't call it work. It was more like a holiday down and staying at Smith's Beach. Setting up the bikes there for all of the patrons and the punters to come and have a look at and sit on, and then hang out with some of in the paddock there. It was just an awesome experience. I've been lucky enough to ride around the track a few times in track days, and that was just a part of the world and a part of my life. Like living your dream and living your passions. One of my passions was motorcycles, and probably that's why we've had such a good chat today about that world. Yeah. And I worked in that industry. I remember what it was like for me to ride around Phillip Island at whatever speed. I can't even remember, but if we had to take everyone on a lap of the track now, let's do that.
Yeah. Okay.
So flying. Well, let's go from the start line.
Yeah. Honestly, it's the first thing to really try and understand is how fast, so much rolling speed and how fast it is at Phillip Island. I even left myself a little note on my email from last year. Sometimes when I learn something from a race or a racetrack, I always write it down in an email to myself, and then I can go back and check it. And one of the things I looked at on the plane was just trying to remind myself how fast it is, because the first few laps, even me, obviously someone who's riding bikes pretty much all the time, it takes you a couple of laps to get adjusted to that speed. So yeah, the start 6th gear on a superbike down the start and finish straight, like I said, 320 kilometres an hour. And as you come over the hill, you can obviously, the corner opens up in front of you. It's a right hand corner back to 4th gear, but just before you brake, the front wheel is actually coming off the floor, so you need to be careful that you've got enough contact on the front before you start braking.
So the front wheel's getting light as you crest
flat out in 6th gear. The front wheel gets light
as you crest that hill in the straight.
In the straight, yeah. So that's obviously a nice. That gets your heart rate going to start the lap, which is always nice.
So because under power and you're powering on so long, you're travelling so fast that the front
there's
wheel
no weight
gets light
on the front.
And then all of a sudden you've got to dip it into back to 4th gear, back down 2 gears.
Down 2 gears and in, just a little bit of brake, but there's like a bowl in turn 1, so you carry a lot of speed through turn 1. Yep. And so 4th gear through turn 1, carry the speed through turn 1, and turn 2 is 3rd gear. So then a big, real long corner, slightly off camber. So
bit of a double apex. Huh?
Double apex. You're trying to come back. The track drops away from you, so it's hard to get the feeling on the bike to take the corner. The bike just wants to go straight.
And it's off camber there.
Yeah, it's like
as you exit, it's off camber.
Yeah, it's like you're on a real slippy road in your car, and you turn the wheels, and they don't want to turn. It just wants to go straight. So that's the feeling you get a lot on that corner. And then Stoner corner, turn 3, you back up to 4th gear, and it's for me anyway, it's one of my favourite corners anywhere in the world, because you go in full throttle in 4th gear, and the rear of the bike starts to slide, and you use the rear of the bike sliding to turn the corner. So that's a really fun corner.
So that's that little left
little
as you
left,
come out of Southern Loop. Yeah.
Not good for the tyre life, because the tyre's smoking a lot around there.
So that's called Stoner corner now. After Casey.
After Casey, I think it was 2 years ago now. And then you've into Honda hairpin, so I think it's the second slowest corner, all the way back to 1st gear for me. So back to 4th gear, all the way back to 1st, trying to get it to stop into there. Normally as well, into this corner you've got the wind from the sea, so the bike doesn't want to stop. But
so that corner for me visually, when you're watching that, that the boys get 3 or 4 wide round.
Yeah, because it's so wide, the track's so wide on the entry, and to be honest, if you go on the inside of someone and get the bike stopped, there's no chance for them to pass you back. So it's a real good place to do a block pass in the race. Yeah. Then on the exit of there, back up to 2nd, and Siberia is, that that corner is one where, for me anyway, it's always, you can't gain too much time because there's only sort of one line on the entry and it's all about the exit to get the run up through the hay shed. So the corner itself is probably one of the easier corners on the track, but the exit is quite hard because the bike's sliding and wheeling, and the next run through the hay shed and up over Lukey Heights is one of the most famous sections of the track, I think, with Phillip Island.
Come out of Siberia.
Out of Siberia, up to fourth gear.
Hay shed is a little...
Slight roll of the throttle through the hay shed and back on the gas, but it's a you have to change direction so fast before it that it's so, in terms of, you know, physically, it's one of the hardest parts of the track because you've got a lot of, you know, on the gas, the bike's driving, accelerating really fast up the hill towards the hay shed, but then you have to lift the bike from one side to another, which when you've got the throttle on, just doesn't want to do that at all. So that's quite a physical section of the track. Then after you've gone over Lukey Heights, you drop right down. It's quite a big change in elevation. You cannot see it on telly.
It's scary steep.
And the rear of the bike wants to come up. That's the slowest corner on the track all the way back to first gear. And then from that point, all the way around the last two corners to the start and finish line, you're just building your speed and building momentum all the way, which is one of the reasons why it's notoriously quite bad for tyre life, because the tyre's just getting hotter and hotter and hotter around them last two corners, and during the race you have to really control that to not obviously damage your tyres too quick and go backwards at the end of the race.
Is there still a little bit of coming out of MG and then
little short shift?
Little short shift,
yeah. So first, second, third on the short shift, and then just up to fourth before the last corner. So then fifth, sixth down the straight, but just building your speed and trying to, like I say, during the race, you're trying to manage the rear tyre, and hopefully you've got a bit more grip than the other guys at the end of the race.
That last corner, so
fast,
knees down.
Yeah.
Right, is that you're pulling fifth then, or is that
fourth through the corner, then fifth as you come over onto the start and finish straight.
Insane.
Really fast, but honestly, it's such a really, really enjoyable track to ride. I think, you know, whatever level you ride a bike at, if you have a passion for motorcycles, you would enjoy riding around Phillip Island.
It's a beautiful place. So that little lap that you've just taken us on, that's about a minute and how many seconds these days?
1 minute 30, 1 minute 29, 1 minute 30 is a good lap time for us. So you soon get round.
Absolutely. So you've got a race on Saturday, one race?
One race Saturday.
How does the weekend go? Practice, qualifying, race? Take us through what that
so we have, because of the first round of the championship, on Monday and Tuesday next week we have official practice. So we don't normally have that. It's something extra because everybody's getting ready for the new season. And then after that we start a normal race weekend. So Friday practice, Saturday morning we have qualifying, one race Saturday afternoon, and then two races on the Sunday.
Beautiful.
So a short race in the morning on the Sunday and a longer race in the afternoon. So yeah, plenty of action.
Mate, it's a great place to be down at Phillip Island. It's just got such a great vibe. The little village there in Cows, you can still get a pizza down there at down the corner there, and there's so many photos of great motorcycle riders and motorcycle memorabilia all around the place. It's just a really fantastic place to be. Mate, I hope you enjoy your time down there. I hope it's a successful week and weekend racing for you, that the championship gets off to an awesome start. Once again, absolute privilege for me to get the opportunity via your friends at Callaway to hang out with you here today. Yourself, Rocky, great to have you along, mate. Good to hear a little bit about your career in the boxing world.
The Bandit, I think I'll change his name to the Bandit.
Rocky the Bandit.
Boxing Bandit.
Mate, any time that you feel like you want to have a hit down here, or maybe in Scotland, if I'm ever up there, part of the world.
Perfect.
I hope to see you again.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Stay in touch. Thanks for joining us on the My Love of Golf podcast.
No problem.
Rocky, thank you. Guys, if we want to follow you along the way, where do we see you?
Yeah, the best place is to log on to www.worldsuperbike.com. There's all the information on there to follow it online, or head on down to Phillip Island if you fancy it.
Instagram,
Alex Lowe's 22. So jump on there. Ask me questions about golf as well if you want, because I'm always happy to talk about that.
Rocky, where do we get you, mate?
Dave Rocky Ryan on Instagram.
Dave Rocky Ryan. Beautiful boys. Thanks again, and until next time, thanks for listening to the My Love of Golf podcast, guys. We'll see you again.
Thank you, mate.